My name's Kim Palmer. I'm Vice President of the Superior Court Employees Association. And the reason why this is our 8th day of strike. We originally went on strike in order to get some cost of living raises because in the past more than 8 years we hadn't gotten any compensation for that. So we finally have come to an agreement over the past few days where it's not in stone, but about a 2-year offer. And in the second year, the court had not offered us anything for a raise, but had offered us a 4.5%, a substantial raise in the first year. So we're just in the final stages of negotiation and mediation, trying to settle that, and we believe that we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the cost of living in Silicon Valley, San Jose, I mean, massive increases in rent and housing. How are regular court workers making it these days?
Not very well. And so it does depend on whether you have a spouse who has a job and what type of job they have, what kind of income they have. Although we do employ a lot of single mothers with children or parents, single parents. So there's a lot of problem in our echelon of clerical where we're not making it. A lot of people have problems with their housing. And we're trying to alleviate that by getting some kind of fair cost of living raise. And so
I understand some of your members have had to go on food stamps and public services because they're not being paid properly.
that's true. We've had a number of them who have. Some people that don't have outside support. People that don't have outside support and are totally relying just on one income and have other children or other obligations financially have relied on outside services such as that. Also, we have people who are renting their townhouses so that they can make that difference in income, and they're renting a room. And we have one woman who's homeless, so living in a homeless shelter in Menlo Park. So we're trying to rectify that to some degree and move forward as an association and an employee group.
And when was your association formed?
We formed it last December. We decertified the union that we had been with for a while. We needed more local issues addressed, and so we did that for that reason. And so we're a brand new association, but we think we've been effective because our membership is very unified and very effective.
And you were with SEIU 521.
That's correct.
And are there other members of that union who are unhappy as well about representation? You're the only unit.
Well, just what I've heard. I mean, I don't want to really. I can only really should only speak about our own local issues. But I think that that's a fact that statewide there's been some issues with different groups. I've read that. So for us, it was just that our local issues weren't being addressed in the workplace, specifically raises and some types of working conditions.
Is there any bullying going on here, workplace bullying against members? Because that has been a problem in San Francisco at the courts. They had some protests, yeah.
We're very lucky, I guess. We have a very cohesive group. We have a fairly small group of workers. We have not had that situation at all. We've been lucky that our goals are shared by all of our members. Our goal is to get some kind of fair living wage, improve some working conditions. We've been working almost half-staffed for a number of years.
And that's because they're not paying enough? Is that why you're half-staffed?
There's a little bit of everything. I mean, there's attrition issues, and there's also just the court's budget itself, where they're not replacing workers who are leaving through attrition. So it just leaves a lot more work left for the workers who are there. So we've all been trying very hard to keep up with that pace, but it's getting difficult after years of that.
And this building here across the street, apparently they spent a lot of money on it, the marble, and they have some money for something.
Yeah, I've heard as much as $2.7 million, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think it was just very bad timing. It's a beautiful building, of course, but bad timing when we're being told that we have budget issues for raises, and we've gone almost a decade without. And then
how do you survive going a decade without raises in the Bay Area, which is the highest cost place in the United States to live? I mean, how do you survive? It seems like an impossible situation.
Yeah, I think we've all been asking ourselves that question as well. I think a lot of us are lucky. We have family members or we have spouses, and you rely on other incomes or other help from other people. And I think that as that squeezes and increases in your life over almost a decade, you just find that you're asking for more and more help and doing without more and more. My car is a 1992, things like that. I mean, you just have these little ways that you compensate. But at some point, it doesn't work anymore. And a lot of our members are feeling that as well.
I mean, it seems like a social crisis, not just for you, but your union and your workers, but other workers. How do workers in the Bay Area survive with the rent and with the housing costs?
Yeah, that's correct. It is a social crisis, and I'm glad that you put it that way. I mean, that's what we realized within our own culture here at the court, and I think it is widespread in the community. This is this is by and large.
Got some support from the bus.
I know. Woo! This is by and large a very expensive place to live, and I think that the divide, between the haves and the have-nots is growing. So if you have a normal job that doesn't pay that much but used to pay the bills, you're finding that that's not getting ahead.
Now the average house is about $1 million
I heard that, yeah.
here in Silicon Valley. And what is the average salary of a court worker here in Santa Clara County?
About 55,000.
What will that get you in Santa Clara County?
Sleeping on somebody's couch, I think. I'm not sure. That's about it.
So it's an impossible situation. If the average price of a house is $1 million, I mean, where does that leave a court worker?
Well, I mean, I actually have one of the better situations. I'm a single person, and I live in an apartment that's the size of a garage, and and that nowadays is a good thing. So I have a really good landlord who's left my rent lower, hasn't raised it. But I don't know. I'd be out there with a lot of the people who are couch serving if I had to.
So you're lucky, actually.
I'm just lucky. I am just lucky. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we laugh at that, but it's really true.
And
yeah.
Have you got support from other people? I mean, are other people supporting you over your strike?
Are you talking about outside? Yeah. Oh, definitely. In fact, we've been amazed at that. We've had almost every justice partner. Like the DA's office, the PD's office, probation, ones that we hadn't even really heard of or affiliated with that much face-to-face before have definitely stepped up and either given to our GoFundMe page to help with our strike fund, or they've come to where we're striking, brought food, and they've just come up to us and said, we support you. So it's really done so much for our morale to have everybody on the outside, even litigants, who have said that they support us and keep on going. We want, so something we're not getting from our employer.
My name's Laura Garcia. I'm a legal process clerk at the Juvenile Division, and I've been employed with the courts for 14 years. When I got hired, I was 29, so I'm thinking this is my career, this is where I'm going to retire from. And now we're having to pay into our retirement and not getting a cost of living increase. I mean, that's extra money out of our pocket, that the money that we haven't been given by the governor that was given last year. So
So in other words, they were provided money by the state of California for a cost of living.
Yes.
And that was not provided to your workers. And you haven't had an increase in 7 years?
8 years. 2 years without a contract, so in reality, 10 years.
And how do they justify this?
They say that the cost of this courthouse is coming from another fund, but yet we've got imported marble tile and other. We hear there's white carpet in the new courthouse. We hear that there's wood that's been imported from Quebec or some other country, but yet the workers that are doing 2-3 jobs because they don't want to hire because the short income.
So there's a shortage of staff in the court?
Yes, there's been a shortage of staff. Some of us got carpal tunnel tendonitis. We're all trying to do the best job we can, but with this pay scale that we're just not making it out here. We got a lady that's in the shelter with her 2 children. We got a person living in the garage. We got another person living in their car. Who's to say what other situations are out there, but they just haven't come out.
And I mean, there was announced that a house in San Jose, average house is $1 million. How does a worker
expect us to survive in this valley? We're the highest, valley that cost of living is outrageous. There's no way a single person with children can make it. And luckily, some of these people have a second income. They have a spouse or significant other, and that's how they're making it. But still,
and many of them are single mothers, so they
Many of them are single mothers, single fathers, just single people thinking that we're going to get this great job as a career and not have the cost of living is not level with the area.
Is this your first strike?
No, this is my second strike. I was a new hire in 2002 and went out just a year on the job, and we have not got a raise since that contract was settled.
So are you pretty sure that something's going to happen here? You have a lot of solidarity and a lot of support?
And I'm keeping my faith and just going to believe and not give up.
Hi, I'm Jerry Paredes, boyfriend of Laura Garcia, that's a court worker. And I'm here to support her and all the other people here that need the money. They're living in their cars, they're living in shelters with their kids because they can't afford a pay raise. The chief executive up here is flying back and forth to San Diego and back on the weekends. And he's got the money, the luxury up there, the money they spent there can go to the workers and the kids in the community. We don't need a $3 million courthouse. Yeah, I don't know what I get nervous.
So I don't understand. These are full-time workers here, and they have to live in their cars. They can't afford to make it here. What's going on?
The rent is so expensive here. They don't make enough to cover it. You might get an apartment for a month, but you're going to be in debt the next month trying to figure out where the money's coming from. You got rent, which is almost $2,000 for a one-bedroom, is crazy. And then you got car payments, food, groceries. I mean, just Lori here, look at the dog. Dog's starving because the big executive doesn't want to put down. He hasn't had a Scooby snack in a while.
And I understand the governor provided a cost of living increase
2% a couple of years ago, and it still hasn't been given to them.
So the government, actually, the state government, provided a cost of living for the workers here, and they didn't give it to the workers.
No, he loaned the money out to another county. What about our people here? The executive director and that team got their raises, promotions. That's why they're not out here with the real workers. They need to stay out here until they get what they want. They need to work. The court needs the workers, or they'll shut down the system. I think they need to shut down the system to show them they're not playing.
Leah Roman, I work here at Superior Court, and I'm very upset with our administration. I am a courtroom clerk in the courtroom.
And why are you upset?
Well, number one, the building right behind you has been going up right in front of our faces for the last, 2 years? And they've got imported marble, tile from Mexico or Korea or some other country. And we haven't got a cost of living raise in 8 years. So we feel that besides the building fund, all of our funds that should have came to us is going to that courthouse.
And when was the last time you got a pay raise?
I think it was 2007.
2007? You've had no increase since 2007?
No increase. We live in Silicon Valley. Prices are going up all around us. You know, the cost of food, thank God the gas prices have stayed pretty even. But everything is going up around us, and our pay raise is not going up.
This is a real problem for a lot of working people. I mean, just how to survive in the Bay Area. I mean, just a general social crisis.
It is. But if you ask everyone, our CEO has gotten a raise.
What does he make?
You know, I'm not sure at this point.
A lot of money.
Yeah, we heard 300,000. Now we're hearing 225,000. So we're not sure. You have to talk to the people in charge of our association. It's public record, correct.
So why haven't they given you a salary increase with the exploding cost of rent and housing and everything else? How do they expect you to make it in San Jose?
I don't know, but we're surviving, barely making it. There's a few of us that have gone to public services and asked for help that way.
So in other words, you're not paid enough. You have to go on food stamps and other help by the government because you're not being paid properly by the government. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. I've heard there are a couple of our families, our court family people that are applying for that. One is going to a homeless shelter because she's losing her house and can't afford to live here in Silicon Valley. Others, people that I work with, they commute from Manteca and Stockton on the train, and it's ridiculous. We're just not getting any respect. no respect from our administration. We're negotiating. I hear we're back at the tables, which is a good thing. But we had to fire SEIU because they weren't listening to
What happened with that? Why did that happen?
Well, we were having concerns, and we emailed them, we called them, and we got no response back. I don't remember the name of our steward. His name was Josh something. But we were always constantly emailing and phone calling, and we never got any response. So after a couple of years of $75 out of my paycheck a month, we fired them. We fired them, got rid of them, and we got our own association, and now we're all representing ourselves. We've seen enough court proceedings and enough justice done in the courtroom to at least attempt to start this off on our own. We have, and we've hired an attorney, and we're represented now. So we are a force to reckon with.
So you felt that SEIU really wasn't representing you, they weren't fighting for you, and was that the reason you have had not increased when they were representing you, or what was going on?
I'm sure that's part of the reason, yes. Yeah.
They have a lot of power. They're one of the largest unions in the Bay Area. And
They are, and I had a lot of respect for them. My father was a Teamster. I grew up in a family where we respected that the Teamsters and the little guy and the labor, but they weren't doing anything for us. We had to fire them.
now, you've been on strike. How long have you been on strike here?
This is our 8th day out here.
And how are you surviving?
Well, so we got our check, the 4th of August. That was our last paycheck. Our next one, which is next Friday, is going to be small because we're, 7 to 8 days out. So I don't know. We'll make ends meet. We'll go to our families, and our families will help take care of us. And if I hear Mr. David Yamasaki call me part of his court family again, I'm just going to have to vomit. He better not say that to...
He says you're part of the family, but apparently you can't survive living here in San Jose.
Exactly. If he's equating himself to the patriarch of our family here, our court family, my grandfather would never treat us like this, with this disrespect.
Now, what about the police, the deputies? It seems like they have high pay relatively to court reporters. What's their situation?
I don't know. I can't speak for them. Some of them have just, given us their support verbally, but they can't show any way impartial, to one side or the other.
So the court now is pretty much shut down. Is that the case?
This office here at Downtown Superior Court closed at noon today. Other offices I know are closed. The office at Family Court, Park Center Plaza, is in the process of moving into the nice building next door here today, so they're not open. But other facilities are picking up the slack. But I don't know who's
So, I mean, there seems like there's a lot of money. You got billionaires in San Jose and Silicon Valley. You've got so much wealth here for some people, but it seems like the working people here are getting the short end of the stick. Is that how you feel?
That is how I feel. Thank you for taking the time. I apologize to the public because we know this is a major inconvenience, but we have to stand up for ourselves after years of being patient with the court.
Yes, our court interpreter is bought for us today. So we've had some good food lately. People taking care of us.
Sure. Tom Sago, TOMSAGGAU, spokesperson for the Superior Court Professional Employees Association.
And what kind of support have they received from other unions, other organizations?
Sure, they've received enormous support. The Government Attorneys Association, which represents all the public defenders and district attorneys, have given financially thousands of dollars. There's a GoFundMe page that you can look and see all the other organizations that have helped. San Jose Firefighters Local 230 has given. The San Jose Police Officers Association has given not only food, water, but also money. Probation Peace Officers Association, the Registered Nurses Professional Association. There's a family of unions that saw the injustice that these folks were dealing with. And
no increase for 7 years. How does that happen?
Yeah, it's even worse than that. It's no increase for 7 years, but they also took a pay cut. They took a pay cut, and these are workers that average $52,000 a year. So it's not like it's a king's ransom that we're asking for, but we just want to be able to survive in the most expensive valley in the country. And we think that if we're able to get an agreement that gets us a little further along the road, it's something that the membership's going to rally around.
And what kind of agreement are you asking for?
We need some additional money. We need also some protection in that second year to make sure that we have an opportunity to get some money in that second year of a contract, because they've gone so many years with zeros. We don't want to start.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, with a house price of $1 million, I mean, you get 4%, 5%, even 10%. What is that going to mean really to these workers?
Well, it means that the struggle continues. It means that we're going to be back at the table in a couple of years, if it's a 2-year deal, if it's a 1-year deal, and we keep making our case.
I mean, Silicon Valley, San Jose, you got some of the wealthiest people in the world, billionaires. I mean, here they have money apparently for a new courthouse. Why is there no money for the workers here?
Well, we think that these workers are going to start on a path of getting what they justly deserve. And then this contract, if it gets done, and it's not done just yet, but if it gets done, is going to start moving them towards where they should be, which is a place where they can sustain a family, raise a family, pay their rent, make their mortgage payment. And it's been tough these years.
That's what I mean. I mean, it seems like house prices are out of sight, skyrocketing. How many working class people can afford $1 million home? That's what I'm asking. And a lot of them, I understand, have to commute. They live in Stockton. They have to, you know, I mean, there's a general situation of regular people not being able to survive in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we've got many workers that have to travel literally 200 miles round trip to come and work here.
And then they're stressed out and their family.
Yeah, and these are dedicated public servants. They deal with people that usually are in crisis, right? If you're in court, either criminal or civil, you're in a bad place. So these people deal also with a whole bunch of stress in the workplace. But we're going to move the ball forward. And this organization has done very well thus far, and we're hoping that we get a contract that pays them what they deserve. I mean, just yesterday, the National Association of Realtors announced that the median home price is $1 million in San Jose. It makes it absolutely unaffordable for working families.
And the median salary of these court clerks here?
$52,000 a year. And it's a travesty, and that's why these folks have been out. They've been walking 8 days on the picket line. They want some economic justice.
We'll be able to help a little bit more.
And how is your union organized? You say it's just been recently formed. It's a new union. It seems like that's a big job to do something like that, to form a union without, you're not connected to a bigger union. You're pretty much a small little. Oh, this is your president? Oh, Shelley?
This is our secretary.
Get it?
And what was it like trying to form a new union? I mean, it seems like it's a big job and it's a lot of work.
It was hard. It was a lot of convincing of people that didn't know how to, you know, they're used to the old way and trusting the old way that things are being done. It's hard to change over to something new.
And were people afraid that if they had a new union, things would be even more difficult?
They were terribly afraid. But our CEO kind of helped us out.
How did they do that?
He released information, and he thought he could sway the people to be against us.
So he was supporting the old union?
He kind of, in his own, yeah, in their own way, they supported SCIU. They're still here for the court reporters. So, you know, he could have just been quiet, but he did one email, and the desert happened. And then he did another email, same kind of email, and the strike happened. And I said, why did you do that?
And what did he say?
Well, I didn't talk to him. I talked to the negotiators for management, and they had no answer for that. I said it didn't need to happen.
I mean, it seems like you're not asking for a lot of money. I mean, you're not asking for increases for 7 years. I mean, how much that would be like, even for 7 years, and maybe 50% increase. I mean, the amount you're asking for, what does it amount to?
Cost of living, minimal cost of living.
Yeah, minimal.
Even if you got 4%, is that going to really change your situation?
It will.
Yeah. Yeah, but every little bit helps because there's been increases in everything from gas to living, groceries. It's been really, really hard.
So just survival.
Yeah, it's just living check to check. Everybody.
And do you have a lot of solidarity here?
A huge amount of solidarity. Yeah, it's huge. We got practically everybody to come out.
Pretty.